is the sheer love that the Filipino nation have for my client. And I've seen it on a daily basis when I go up to visit Mr. Duterte in his detention center, and I see the people waiting there every day, just hoping to feel something of that Duterte magic. It happens even when I travel abroad. For example, I can go to a foreign country, the United Arab Emirates. I land at the airport and there are Filipinos there and they recognize me straight away. And they come up to me, they want to hug me, and then they cry. They cry because by crying on my shoulder, they can feel that they're getting some form of closeness to the former president.
At eto na nga mga kababayan, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, sinubalpal ang mga bias na media dyan sa Netherlands.
Why do you always criticize the media in all of your presentations from day one to day?
Why does the media always criticize my client? Full stop, end of story. Next question.
At kapatid, ang di umunoy biktima ng EJK, huli sa kanyang kasinungalingan.
We showed him some photographs of his family. We showed him photographs of his youngest daughter, Veronica, Kitty, who writes to him every day so often that the letters are piling up in his room. His face starts to light up.
At samantala, PRRD, may madamdaming sulat at binasa ito ni Attorney Kaufman sa harap ng ICC.
Nick, I have done my duty and I have left my legacy. Go to court and do your job, but I can no longer help you. I was a faithful servant of the people, and that is how I wish to be remembered. I have now accepted my fate, and I realize that I could die in prison.
Pag-usapan natin lahat ng development dyan sa dahig, maya-maya lang, mga kababayan.
Para lagi kang updated. Ako nga pala si Bidaya ng mga oposisyon sa kasalukuyan mo. At sabi nga, galit na galit ang mga lapungan ng Pangulong Duterte. Kung hindi ka pa nakakapag-subscribe, isubscribe mo na yan!
At syempre, magandang araw mga banateros at mga kababayan kong Pilipino sa iba't ibang panig na mundo. Ako po si Master Judea, tayo po ay nagbabalik para pag-uusapan ang mga balita na may kinalaman sa ating bansa. Pero bago po tayo magsimula mga kababayan, huwag kakalimutan na mag-subscribe sa ating YouTube channel at syempre mag-follow sa ating FB page. Huwag din kakalimutan na mag-share, mag-comment at mag-like sa ating mga video na ina-upload. Ano pa hinihintay mo? Gawin mo na yan! At eto na, unang arangkada. Kapatid di umano ng biktima ng EJK, huling-huli sa kanyang pagsisinungaling at nabuking na miyembro pala ng mga grupong aning-aning. Alam nyo ha? Alam nyo mga kababayan, mukha pa lang nitong babae na ito eh. Alam mo, hindi gagawa ng tama eh, no? At pati rin, yung mga kasama niya na parang mga kinuha lang sa kanto at kinuha ang testigo. Pero, panoorin natin, malay nyo, baka makonvince tayo nitong mga lintian na ito. O, panoorin natin.
Para sa mga mahal namin sa buhay, hindi lang para sa kapatid ko, para po sa mga libo-libong victims, para sa mga nanay at iba pang mga orphan na nanghihingi ng justice. And it won't change the fact na napakarami pa rin namatay under drug war ni former President Duterte.
Ayan o, nagpapaawa siya eh, no? Oo. Maawa ba kayo dyan sa mukha na yan? Ha? O, eto po, kitang-kita po natin. Ha? Sino ba kasama nito? Si Sara Ilago. Alam naman natin kung saan na may bilang si Sara Ilago. Marami po ang lumalabas na impormasyon tungkol dito sa lukarit na ito. No? Merong dalawang litrato, ipinapakita ng babaeng ito na magkaiba ang mukha at napag-alaman na itong isang lalaki ay dati niyang boyfriend. Ha? Dati niyang boyfriend, pero etong isa na picture na pinapakita niya, tunay naman na picture po ito ng kapatid niya. Picture ng kapatid niya, yung pinapakita niya, no? yung naka-jacket. Pero, hindi naman pala namatay sa EJK, kundi sa riding in tandem. Sa madaling salita, hindi po war on drugs ang dahilan ng pagkamatay ng kapatid niya. At eto, nakikita nyo sa screen, kasama niya si Ilago, na miyembro ng mga Bayan Black. Sino-sino ba ngayon? Ang nakikita natin na tumatrabaho talaga kay PRRD dyan sa ICC. Walang iba, kundi ang Makabayan Black at si Trillanes. At naniniwala ba kayo na walang pumopondo kay Trillanes? Ha? Saan makukuha ng pera yan? Di ba? Oh, at ayon sa revelasyon ng Marines, nakatanggap daw di umano si Trillanes ng limpak-limpak na salapi para trabahuin si PRRD diyan sa usapin ng ICC. So, now, paniniwalaan pa ba natin ang mga ganitong eksena na punong-puno ng politika at punong-puno ng kasinungalingan? Di ba? Kaya nga sila lagi napapahiya kasi puro kasinungalingan ang dala-dala nila. Puro kasinungalingan ang pinagsasabi nila. Mga salot nga sa lipunan na hindi pwede pagkatiwalaan. Maniniwala ka. Di ba? Ginagamit sila ng administrasyong kasalukuyan para pabagsakin ang kanilang kalaban. Pero, hindi nila kaya si Kaufman. Kung legalidad lang ang pag-uusapan at kung legalidad ang pagbabasihan, wala silang panama kay Kaufman. Yung mga media nga dyan, na di umano'y mga bayaran, sinupalpal ni Kaufman. O ito, panoorin po natin.
Why do you always criticize the media in all of your presentations from day one to day?
Why does the media always criticize my client? Full stop, end of story. Next question.
Oh. Walang biga, walang hiya. Isang bigwas lang ni Kaufman. Hindi na nakatayo yung kalaban. Oh. Rektahan na, di ba? Eh bakit mo laging kinikriticize ang media sa iyong mga presentation? Sabi nung media. Eh lagi nyo rin kinikriticize ang kliyente ko. Ha? Tapos ang usapan. Next question. Oh. Yan ang tunay na real talk. Wala nang intro-intro. Sapul agad sa ulo. Oh. Oh. Kaya sa mga media, no, bago po kayo magtanong, sa matalinong abogado, isipin nyo muna yung mga itatanong nyo kung hindi po pwedeng ibalik sa inyo. Mga bias kasi kayo Oh. Mga bias kayo, kaya syempre, kung ganyan ang isagot sa inyo ni Kaufman, wala kayong magagawa. Kasi napapanood niya Di ba? Binalaan na nga niya yung mga supporter ni PRRD at ang mga Pilipino na huwag basta-basta maniniwala sa media, di ba? Oh. So eto, medyo madamdamin ito at may sulat si PRRD sa mga Pilipino at kay Kaufman mismo, panoorin natin kung ano nilalaman ito.
And said, Mr. Kaufman, Nick, I have done my duty and I have left my legacy. Go to court and do your job. But I can no longer help you. I no longer remember much at all, and I can't comment on people who I do not know and on statistics that mean nothing to me. He then concluded and pronounced as follows: I was a faithful servant of the people, and that is how I wish to be remembered. I have now accepted my fate, and I realize that I could die in prison. And on that somber note, my team and I realized that there was no point in continuing. So we tried to humor him. We told him that next month he will be 81. And we reminded him of the many people who visit Duterte Street and Duterte Park, the renamed locality just outside the ICC detention centre, as referred to by the many, many pilgrims who have visited The Hague to feel closeness to his presence, even if they cannot witness his actual person with their own eyes. We remind him of the mountain of cards and greetings and of the forest of flowers that he received both at the detention centre and at the court's premises on his 80th birthday. So many cards, all of which were read by his family, that we had to provide 2 sacks to take them back to our office. So many bouquets of flowers that the prison had to bring a van to take them away. The flowers that reached the court premises were strategically placed around the building, and although so appealing and desirable and coveted by the staff, were avoided once the staff was told of their origin. So these flowers just rotted in the corridors until the smell forced them to be thrown away. We showed him some photographs of his family. We showed him photographs of his youngest daughter, Veronica, Kitty, who writes to him every day so often that the letters are piling up in his room. His face starts to light up. We showed him pictures of civic events in the Philippines with Sebastian Baste and Paolo Pulong present. He laughed and told us what he remembers of their days as young men in Davao. We showed him pictures of Inday Sara greeting the enthusiastic crowds of people in the Philippines, and then finally his face beamed with pride.
Yon, mga kababayan, palapakan natin. Ang sabi po ni PRRD, ginawa niya lahat ng part niya bilang isang leader ng bansa. At kung ano man ang kahihinatnan niya sa dahig ay tanggap na niya. At sinabi pa niyang para sa tingin niya, doon na siya babawian ng buhay sa loob ng kulungan. At ipinapaubaya na daw ni PRRD kay Atty. Kaufman ang kanyang kapalaran dahil trabaho niya yan bilang abogado na ipaglaban niya si PRRD. So, parang gusto nga ni PRRD na huwag nang ipagpatuloy o hayaan na lang siya na mabulok sa kulungan. Pero kung si PRRD tanggap niya ang kanyang kapalaran at sa tingin ko agree kayo sa akin na tayo ay hindi natin matatanggap ang kanyang kalagayan. Dahil si PRRD lang ang naging leader na binigyan tayo ng karangalan sa mga dayuhan. Si PRRD lang ang nakapagpatahimik sa mga lansangan at nakapaglakad tayo ng matiwasay sa kanyang panahon na walang takot, kahit madaling araw, pwede tayong maglakad ng walang iniisip na kapahamakan. Kaya bilang supporter, bilang mga supporter ni PRRD, mahirap tanggapin na ganito ang kanyang sinapit. Pero lahat naman ng bagay may hangganan. Sa bandang huli, tama pa rin ang mangingibabaw. Matatapos din ang kawalang hiyaan ng iilan at tatanggapin nila ang balik ng karma na sa kanila ay nararapat. Alam naman natin na ito ay politika lang. Alam naman natin na ang mga porsigido dito sa mga kaganapan na ito ay yung mga apektado tulad ng mga rebelde, tulad ng mga dorogista at yung mga personalidad na humamak ng walang hiya, nagpahiya at sumira sa pangalan nila. Pero huwag tayo mag-alala dahil malapit nang lumipad ang agila. Isasalba ang ating bansa sa kuko ng mga buhaya. Malapit nang maging presidente si Inday Sara. Kaya huwag tayo mawawalan ng pag-asa dahil sabi nga nila, habang buhay, mayroong pag-asa. Although si PRRD ay nawawala na ng dahilan para ipaglaban ito at nawawala na rin ng lakas. Paunti-unti na nauubos ang lakas niya. Pero sa tuwing nakikita niya na marami ang sumusuporta sa kanya, marami nagdadala ng bulaklak, marami ang nagdadala ng sulat, at sa tuwing nakikita niya ang pinakabunsong anak na si Kitty at si BP Inday Sara na dinudumog sa tuwing siya ay lumalabas, at ang mga ginagawa ni Pulong Duterte at ni Paulo Duterte at ni Basti Duterte ay nagliliwanag ang kanyang buha. So ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon siya ng lakas, mga kababayan. Sa tuwing nakikita niya na tayo mga Pilipino ay sumusuporta sa mga anak niya, sumusuporta sa pamilya niya, at hindi tayo naniniwala diyan sa kasalanan na ibinabato po sa kanya. Kaya patuloy po tayo na sumuporta, patuloy po natin na palakasin ang loob ni Pangulong Duterte para muli siyang makabalik sa ating bansa at makita natin siya na humihinga na nandito sa ating bansang Pilipinas. Malapit na maging presidente si BP Inday Sara. 2 taon na lang. Kaya, huwag tayong tumigil sa pagsasalita at sa pagsuporta sa isang naging presidente na nagbigay sa atin ng kahit papaanong ginhawa at katiwasayan sa ating bansa. At eto, mga kababayan, panoorin din po natin ang kabuuan ng report diyan sa The Hague at ang kalagayan ni Pangulong Duterte. Ito po ang full interview ni Atty. Nicolas Kaufman diyan sa Netherlands.
Attorney Nick, mabuhay ka.
Right, I'm just going to make one statement, okay? That's all. Okay? Answer a few questions. Okay, go ahead. Go on.
All right, so how did
Your
you
statement?
assess the whole 4 days?
Well, I'm not going to pass judgment on the performance of the prosecution, the performance of the victim's representatives, or my own performance. That's for the judges to decide, and it's not a show. The judges will take their decision based on the evidence, and the evidence has been presented to them by the prosecution. The evidence has been challenged by us, the defense, and we trust the judges to take the right decision.
Attorney Nick, multiple times during online streaming, the statement, especially if it's the presentation of the defense, it has been cut off multiple times. Do you know the reason why they are doing this?
Well, I think Judge Motok made it clear that there are certain aspects of the court transcript that cannot be broadcast to the public because there are protective measures. There are what I refer to as reductions throughout the hearing, and that's the reason why.
Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, on behalf of the Filipino community all over the world, we would like to extend our congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I was so surprised that you didn't fight for the former president to be released.
That's because we have an appeal pending, an appeal on the first review of detention. And there's no point making new arguments when we're still waiting for a decision from a higher chamber on the first decision. It's purely legal, okay? It's not that I agree that my client should continue to be in detention. It's merely recognizing the futility of making an additional request for interim release at this point in time.
Were there new conditions set by the prosecution or reasons for the continued detention? Aside from flight risk, fear from the victims, was there a new reason cited?
These conditions are set out in the statute. That's the Rome Statute which governs this building here. And there are three conditions which govern interim release. The prosecution have to either show a risk of flight, a risk of intimidation of witnesses, or the risk of continued commission of crime. Now, we've argued throughout the process that because of his age and because of his condition and for various reasons, he's not able to engage any of those risk factors. The prosecution disagree, and the prosecution argue that his refusal to recognize the possibility of exercising jurisdiction over him signifies that if he were released, he would not present himself for trial. And we disagree with that. But then once again, these are decisions that have to be taken by the appeals chamber and not by me here in the media.
Attorney Kaufman, some Filipino lawyers of the victims are describing your last-minute attempt to appeal to emotions as grasping at straws. How do you respond to that?
Come on. I'm representing a client who's been locked up for a year, who hasn't seen the public, so of course I'm going to address the public who want to see him. I made my position very clear. I felt that he should appear, but he's my client. He took his decision, and I respect that decision. And the decision that he took, as it turns out, was the right decision in all the circumstances. Yes, of course, my detractors are going to criticize me. The prosecution tried to strike me from the record, as you saw at the end, but that failed miserably. And I think that just signifies the extent to which they are irritated by the arguments which I made. And those arguments were professional. I litigated for the best part of a day and a half on the substance. I'm talking about the legal arguments. I'm talking about the evidence. We attacked every one of those counts which alleged that Mr. Duterte murdered 78 victims. We deny that completely. And we gave our reasons why, and they're on the record.
Attorney Kaufman, this is not the first time that you're facing the ICC. You have defended other clients before. How would you compare or how would you contrast the complexity of this particular case compared to the other cases that you've dealt with before?
Well, all the cases here are complex. The complexity arises out of what are called the modes of perpetration, the modes of liability, something which I talked about at length, especially the indirect co-perpetration theory, which is something which is applied here in practically every case. So with respect to complexity and with respect to quantity of evidence, this case doesn't differ from any other case. What does differ is the sheer love that the Filipino nation have for my client. And I've seen it on a daily basis when I go up to visit Mr. Duterte in his detention center, and I see the people waiting there every day, just hoping to feel something of that Duterte magic. It happens even when I travel abroad. For example, I can go to a foreign country, the United Arab Emirates. I land at the airport and there are Filipinos there and they recognize me straight away. And they come up to me, they want to hug me, and then they cry. They cry because by crying on my shoulder, they can feel that they're getting some form of closeness to the former president.
Oo, ayan. Nakakadurog ng puso, mga kababayan, no? Nakakadurog ng puso kasi ikinakwento ni Kaufman na ang pagkakaiba daw dito sa kaso ni President Duterte at doon sa mga kaso na hinawakan niya before ay yung pagmamahal ng mga Pilipino kay Pangulong Duterte. At araw-araw niya nakikita na may mga Pilipino diyan sa harap ng dahig na sumusuporta kay Pangulong Duterte. At even siya mismo, pag nagpupunta siya ng ibang bansa, pag may mga Pilipino daw na nakakakita sa kanya, niyayakap siya, humiiyak sa kanyang balikat dahil nalulungkot sa nangyari kay Pangulong Duterte. So ngayon mga kababayan, kung human rights ang pag-uusapan natin dito, pinalaya nato si President Duterte. Diba? Kasi halos majority ng mga Pilipino ay minamahal siya. Instead na magalit sa kanya or kamuhian siya, minahal siya. Dahil yung ginawa niya ay minahal ng mga Pilipino. Tapos ngayon, ito ang gagawin sa kanya. Ipapakulong sa daig, kinidnap. Diba? So, doon natin makikita, mga kababayan, na itong nangyayari kay Pangulong Duterte ay politika, pagpapabagsak, pagsira ng pangalan, o pwede na natin sabihin na kinatatakutan siya. Kasi nung nandito si Pangulong Duterte sa Pilipinas, nagsasalita siya, walang preno. Ibinubuking niya lahat ng kabulastugan sa gobyerno, kaya eto. Yung pagmamahal niya sa Pilipinas, eto ang sukli sa kanya. Dahil mga jablo ang namumuno na sa bansa natin ngayon.
That's indeed true.
Okay?
Thank
All
you,
right.
Attorney.
Thank you very much. Let's hope for the best.
Just a closing statement
Yes.
on how
Yes.
you addressed or spoke with the president when you met him last Wednesday when the hearing was on a break. Was that really something that you had initially thought that was important to share during your closing arguments?
Was it necessary?
It was 100% necessary, and I shared it, and it irritated people because you see, people have brought him to this court, they've put him on trial. He asked all the time, if I've done something wrong, let me be tried in front of my own people, and they want to silence him once he's here by standing up and asking for it to be struck from the record. Okay, I didn't testify on his behalf. I just told them the difficulties that I'm facing and the reasons why he didn't want to present himself before the chamber. Not out of disrespect, but because he raised a legitimate argument that he does not recognize the possibility of this court exercising its jurisdiction over him. And that was the very first thing he said when he was arrested back in the Philippines, having arrived from the Hong Kong.
I remember you said that you had a barong ready for him.
Yes, indeed,
and
we
because
did.
you didn't want him to wear that ill-fitted suit.
Correct.
And you wanted it erased or deleted from...
Well, yes, I think that's humiliating, quite frankly, having that photograph there. It was taken in a situation where he had really been released from hospital a few days before, and he was tired, he was jet-lagged, he was suffering from the medication of the hospital, and then he was just told that he's being put in front of a television camera and taking part in an audience, a hearing. And of course, that suit's not his own. I mean, have you ever seen him wear a suit and tie like that? No. So I said, well, the judges, they could reject your waiver, and then you might be obliged to appear. And then you'll have a choice. Either you stay in your cell and refuse to come out, and then maybe they will force you out, but I doubt it. You're 80 years old. I can't see anyone forcing an 80-year-old man to come out of his prison cell to come to court. Or they could put him in front of the television camera. Or you can choose to come. And I told him, well, maybe you should think about coming. I'm going to give you the option. And if you do come, I want you to wear a barong. And so we had a barong specially fitted for him. My team went up there and we measured him. He was a bit reluctant, but he agreed. And but then he said to me, Mr. Kaufman, no, I don't want it. And then he told me what I mentioned.
That was the final decision.
Yep. And
If not
the
to
reasons
appear.
were given to me there.
Attorney, have you already spoken to the family? Did they already give you a feedback as to what happened in the proceedings in the last
I've
meeting?
just finished, I've just finished my submissions. I've just come out of court.
Perhaps by
I've been
a
with my
Zoom call
team. I haven't had an
yesterday.
opportunity. Come on.
Have you seen the
All right. Yeah.
When will you update him?
I'll be calling him this evening.
Why do you always criticize the media in all of your
Ah.
presentations from day one to day one?
Why does the media always criticize my client? Full stop. End of story.
End of story. Ano pa ba iriribat mo dyan? Wala na, tinapos na. Next question.
Next question.
Sir, when was released to the president last Wednesday? You haven't seen him since then?
Well, no, because I've been in court. It's a bit difficult.
Are you
Okay,
gonna
and I
see
had to
him-
work on my closing submissions last night.
Are you gonna see him now?
But I'm not going to see him now because I'm not allowed to because it's past visiting time. Okay, but I will be speaking to him.
Should the appeals chamber grant your appeal with regard to the change in the place of detention? What place do you have in mind aside from the
I
detention
can't
facility?
tell you that, I'm afraid, because that's confidential.
Okay.
When will your next visit to President Duterte?
Well, I'm going to take a bit of a break now. I've been working very hard, as was the whole of my team. I think I deserve a break. So I'll be seeing him shortly. There are a couple of decisions which are due to be rendered, as you know. First of all, the appeals decision on jurisdiction, and also the appeals decision on his first review of detention.
Can his family
Filipino
visit him
lawyers,
already,
attorney.
since it's, the confirmation of charges is already finished?
Yes, it is, and the honourable judges have 60 days to take their decision.
How about the Filipino lawyers? Are they already applied for the ICC accreditation?
I haven't had an opportunity to speak to them. Okay, I just came out of court.
Attorney, was it the personal request or the family's request for the removal of the picture of the former president, the one in blue suit?
That was my request.
Your
Yes.
request, but not necessarily. It did not
Well,
come
I
from the
haven't consulted
family.
them on dress requirements. Okay, that's my request. I've always said that photograph which exists on the ICC website is not the type of photograph that I would want for the world to see.
Okay. So yon mga kababayan, yan po ang kompletong kaganapan na nangyari kahapon po sa The Hague. So kahapon po nagtatapos itong confirmation of charges kay Pangulong Duterte at ngayon po maghihintay tayo ng 60 days kung ano ang magiging desisyon ng ICC. Kung papanigan ba ng ICC ang mga nagrereklamo or papanigan ba ng ICC ang kampo ni Pangulong Duterte. So now we are hoping, mga kababayan, we are hoping na panigan ang ating grupo, ang kampo ni Pangulong Duterte dahil wala naman talaga eh. These are all lies. These are all politics, mga kababayan. Okay? These are all politics. At kung makikita nyo, meron talagang sumusuporta dito na malaking tao. Eh, pag-apply pa lang po ng Schengen visa, napakahirap na po niyan. Eh, ako nga po nag-apply po dyan, na kahit papaano, may naipon-ipon tayo noon, hindi tayo pumasa, na-decline. Eh, eto po, na mga kapatid ni Umano, nakapasa. Nakapasa, hindi natin alam na dahilan. So, meron talagang tumutulong dyan. May sumusuporta dyan. Hindi ako naniniwala na makakapag-stay sila dyan ng ganong katagal kung sarili lang nila na pera yan. Kasi napakamahal po. Napakamahal po ng pagkain, napakamahal po ng mga bilihin dyan sa The Hague, napakamahal ng mga hotel po dyan. So, saan sila kukuha ng pondo? At alam naman natin na itong gobyerno ni Marcos Jr., administrasyon ni Marcos Jr., lahat po sila ay nagsabuatan na para pabagsakin ang mga Duterte. Although sinasabi nila na wala silang kinalaman, pero hindi po yan na nakikita natin sa mga galaw nila. Sabi ni Bongbong Marcos Jr., hindi daw sila makikipag-cooperate sa ICC, pero ano nangyari? Pilipinong pulis pa ang humuli, kumidnap kay Pangulong Duterte. At yung Malacanang mismo ang nag-provide ng eroplano na maghahatid kay Pangulong Duterte sa The Hague. So, is that something na dapat nating paniwalaan? Hindi po. Dahil sila po ang may kagagawan lahat niyan. Ang administrasyon ni Marcos Jr. Dahil kung ayaw nila, kung ipinaglalaban na talaga nila ang soberanya ng ating bansa, ang ating soberanya, kasama po doon ang mga Pilipino. Kasama po doon ang tao. So, bakit si PRRD na naging Pangulo, kinidnap nila at ipinakulong sa dahig. Kasi nga po, hindi nila kaya si PRRD kung legalidad lang ang pag-uusapan natin. Kaya, imbis na matalo sila dito sa Pilipinas, ipinadala nila sa dahig para nang sa ganon ay mapahiya pag-usapan ng buong mundo, pero nakikita natin ang pagmamahal ng mga Pilipino dito sa dating Pangulo. At ito ay nararamdaman din ng mga tao sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, hindi lang Pilipino. Pati mga banyaga nakikita kung gaano minamahal ng mga Pilipino si Duterte. Something na hindi po nangyari yan sa kasaysayan ng mga kaso diyan sa ICC. Ito kay Pangulong Duterte, araw-araw na ginawa ng Diyos, merong Pilipino na nasa labas ng dahig para suportahan ang dating presidente. Kaya ipagpatuloy po natin ang ating pagsuporta dahil nakakarating po yan kay Pangulong Duterte. Sa social media, sa mainstream media, and even sa harap ng dahig or kung saan man na panig ng mundo, nakakarating po yan kay PRRD. Oo, nararamdaman natin na pinanghihinaan na ng loob si PRRD. Kaya nga tayo nandito ng mga taga-suporta eh. 'Di ba? Para palakasin ang loob niya. Para ipakita sa kanya na hanggang ngayon, andito pa rin tayo na sumusuporta. May mga nagtatanong, katulad ng sinabi nitong Shira, bakit ka daw sumusuporta sa mamamatay tao? Eh putang ina, yung administrasyon ngayon, ang daming pinatay na tao. Hindi ko sinasabi na pinatay nilang literal, pero dahil sa nakawan na nangyayari sa gobyerno, ang daming namamatay sa baha, ang daming namamatay sa lindol, at ang daming namamatay sa gutom. Dahil dinanakawan tayo ng gobyerno. Okay? Hindi naman lingid sa ating kaalaman yan eh. Iniimbestigahan nga yan, yung nakawan sa gobyerno, kung saan makikita natin na bilyong-bilyon or trilyong piso ang nawawala sa kaban ng ating bayan, pero wala tayo nakikita ng mga proyekto. Kung bagkos, tayo nahihirapan dahil sa pagbagsak ng ekonomiya. Wala tayong nakikita na mga proyekto na nagbigay ng tulong o nakapagpagaan sa ating mga Pilipino. Yung mga kalsada, nakikita natin sira-sira. Tapos ngayon, ang pinagpinopokosa nila yung pagpapabagsak sa kanilang mga kalaban. Aminin nila sa hindi, yun ang ginagawa nila at matatapos ang termino nila na wala silang nagagawa kundi ang pagsalag sa mga batikos or kritisismo na ibinabato sa kanila. Dahil alam naman natin, mga kababayan, kung sino talaga ang may gawa ng kabulastugan, kawalang hiyaan sa ating bansa. Alam naman natin yan eh. Kaya nga, hanggat maaari, hinihiling ng majority ng mga Pilipino na makulong ang mga mastermind sa pagnakaw sa gobyerno. Hindi si Duterte or hindi mga Duterte ang problema natin sa Pilipinas. Ang problema natin sa Pilipinas, yung mga magdanakaw at baka sariling mga politiko na walang inisip kundi ang pagpapayaman at sarili nila. Kung paano sila mananatiling malakas, mananatiling mayaman, mananatiling makapangyarihan. Yun po ang ginagawa nila. Nakita natin yan. Tayo mismo, hindi tayo bulag, hindi tayo bingi, hindi tayo pipi. Nakita natin, dati wala akong pakialam sa politika dahil pare-pareho. Nang tumayo at naupo, si Pangulong Duterte, doon ko nakita na may magagawa pala, may mangyayari pala sa Pilipinas pagka matino ang leader. Pero pagka ganito, ng mga magnanakaw, walang mangyayari. Kaya, umaasa tayo na makakabalik ang Duterte sa Malacanang para ayusin muli ang Pilipinas. Ibalik ang katiwasayan, ibalik ang paglago ng ekonomiya, at ibalik ang kaligtasan ng mga mamamayan na takot na maglakad na naman ngayon. Dahil maraming kriminal, maraming drogista, nagkalat na naman ang droga. So patuloy tayo sumuporta sa tama, mga kababayan. At hindi po tayo dyan magsisisi. Hanggang sa muli, magkita-kita po tayo sa susunod nating upload. And once again, this is Master Judeas and thank you. God bless you all and to God be the glory. Magandang araw po ng Sabado. Happy weekend sa inyo lahat.